Hello folks and welcome to my third video. Now before I start I want to apologise in advance. My voice might be a little bit off. I'm sat here in a dressing gown and I probably look terrible. I haven't been well for about a week or so, typical man flu, and I'm not quite with it if I'm honest with you. But I didn't want you to have to wait any longer to get the next video out. So I'm just going to go with the flow. There will probably be some mistakes. You might see me have to take a drink or move away for a cough, but just try to ignore that. So as you can see, this one's titled "What is a Panic Attack?" Now, there are probably a lot of you that have never had a panic attack. You may want to skip this video. I recommend that you don't. Who's to say that it won't happen at some point in the future? I hope it doesn't, but it can do. They can occur completely out of the blue. Or say you've gone to work one day or you've gone for a walk and you see somebody else having a panic attack. Now we're going to go through some of the symptoms of some and some of the coping techniques while having a panic attack in this video, and you might really change somebody's day, you know, if you can identify that and help them get through that. So what is a panic attack? You know, essentially it's a huge sudden surge of anxiety hitting you like all at once, and it's quite often, as I said before, out of the blue. They can feel so overwhelming that it's actually pretty common for people to believe they're having a heart attack. A lot of ambulances have been called when people think they're actually dying, when really they are just having a panic attack. I know it sounds silly, it might sound funny to some people. I was a lucky one. I already knew about them before I ever had one, so I never had to go through that, but I know it happens quite often. So first of all, we'll just start off with some of the common symptoms of having a panic attack. So you may have had one before and not realised what it was, or you may have noticed this in other people. So we'll just go through a few of them here. So like palpitations or accelerated heart rate. You can get quite a rapid heart when you're having a panic attack. Some people hyperventilate. You can sweat a lot, you can be shaking. That was a common one with me. I used to be all over the place. You know, people think I was on drugs and all sorts. Some get like a feeling of choking or suffocation, chest pains or discomfort around the area, nausea, vomiting, or general abdominal distress, feeling dizzy, unsteady, lightheaded, like you're going to faint. Derealization is an odd one, and it used to happen to me. It's basically the feeling that you're not real. Sometimes you'll get that not linked to a panic attack. Have you ever had where you don't feel you're really there? Well, it's quite a lot stronger in a panic attack. Another one is depersonalization. That's where I've had this as well. That's where you'll feel that you're not attached to your body. Sometimes I'd have it as if I'm up here and I'm looking down on myself, like I'm completely out of body experience whilst having a panic attack. Not every time, but it has happened. It's very, very strange. What else? There's like fear of losing complete control. That was a big one for me, that you're not in control of your body anymore, like you're going crazy, believing you're dying. Sometimes you can get numb and tingly as well. You can get chills, or you can go the opposite and get hot flushes. I mean, that's just to state a few there, but they're like the more common ones you can get. The problem is, as well, once you've had a panic attack, it is quite possible that you will obtain a massive fear then of it reoccurring, and because of that, it quite often does. I know that happened to me. It was so scary that the first major one that I had, and it was after that one that they kept reoccurring through me every day, and it was an absolute nightmare. Sometimes it can be linked to where you had one. So for example, say you're walking in town, you walk past a specific shop when you had one, keep going back to that spot, you might keep having one. Or certain noises, smells, sights that you saw when you had one, they can sometimes re-trigger it later on. So the general fear of it can cause basically a chain of them continuing on, and that's something that we want to try and prevent. So a big question that's quite often asked: are panic attacks dangerous? Honestly, not really. Most cases, panic attacks cause you absolutely no harm whatsoever. It is different if it's linked to a medical condition, or if I suppose if there was a certain drugs in your system as well that could make it different. But that aside, medical history aside, not really. Um, it does feel like you are, going to die or something's really bad happening. Don't worry about it, all right? Um, so the next thing that people quite often ask, why do I get these symptoms? The ones that I've listed to you there, why do I have them? And basically, the answer to that is your body's going into fight or flight mode, also known as fight, flight, and freeze. For those of you that don't know this term, it's worth looking it up. It's basically like a defense mechanism of the body to prepare it to either fight or flight. So either run away or get ready for the fight. It's like a natural instinct in us, and that will come when there's a threat. But that is really confusing when it happens when there is no apparent threat. So you're getting all these whacker symptoms and there's nothing there. So an example that was once told to me was, imagine yourself in a war, okay, that you're being shot at by an enemy. You're literally fighting for your life there. So your body's gone into fight or flight mode to keep you alive. So you're getting the accelerated heart rate, which is pumping all the oxygen around into your muscles so that they're going to be working harder so that you can run away or you can fight that enemy. Your body can run better with less weight in it. It's not good to run on a full stomach, as a lot of you may know. So you feel nauseous. Your body wants to clear it all out. You want to vomit it out so that you can keep going. You tend to get heightened senses as well, something I should have really put into the list before. I used to get it quite a lot with hearing. One of the places I had it was in the mall in the city centre. Obviously I'm fine in there now, but I had a pretty bad one in there. And then every time I went in after that, the main trigger that caused me to have one was my hearing. I would go in there and suddenly I could hear a lot more of the footsteps really clearly. I could hear people above me. I could hear conversations in different areas. Wherever I was looking, I could hear what they were saying to one another, and it felt like I was on something, and it would trigger that panic attack. And it was awful. But again, in that situation, you want to be more aware. You want to know if there's something lurking around that corner. You want to make sure you're not going to get hurt. You'll be sweating to cool your body down. So imagine all these kind of things hitting you out of the blue, all right, with no sign of apparent danger anywhere. You don't know what the hell is going on. Your body feels like it's going crazy. It's preparing you to fight something or run away from something that isn't even there. So what we need to think about now you've had that, or if you ever have that, is two very important things. Anticipatory anxiety. I mentioned it briefly in another video. So basically, instead of afterwards you're going back to your normal chilled out self between that panic attack and another one, instead you're anxious all the time. You're on edge because you're having the fear of it happening again. So basically, the saying, the only thing to fear is fear itself. Well, that's basically what is happening. You're fearing the fear of it reoccurring. And it is very frightening, and that definitely is what happened to me. So again, it's something that we really need to try and avoid if you ever have a panic attack. Or the other one is it like I think it's called phobic avoidance. So that's when you begin to avoid certain situations or environments. So how I said sometimes you get triggered in the same place again and again. So you avoid that, and it's based on a belief that the situation you're avoiding, by doing so, you're not going to get another panic attack. And that also leads on to agoraphobia, which again, I had both of these things. So that happened to me too. Don't want it to happen to anybody else. Okay, if it has happened, you feel that you may be too far into this, there will be other videos later on, or you can talk to me privately and I'll see what I can do for you. So now, before I go on, there are what I think is important to discuss is other reasons for getting panic attacks. Okay, Now these are something that you may want to get checked out first if you're concerned. Alright, there's no harm in going to a doctor about this, okay? If you've got an overactive thyroid glands, now I don't know a lot about biology, about medicine, but I have heard that having an overactive thyroid gland can cause panic attacks. Low blood sugar can cause panic attacks. The use of amphetamines, cocaine, caffeine, nicotine even can cause it as well. And it can also come from withdrawal, apparently. So if you're withdrawing from certain medication or any kind of drug, that can cause it to happen too. So these are things that you need to bear in mind, okay, when we're going through these videos, that these may be an issue for you that might have to be addressed slightly differently. Now to move on, how to ease a panic attack. Now the reason I use the word ease is just by watching this video once is probably not going to cure your panic attacks. Okay, there will be future videos based on more detail in panic attacks, but I'm hoping this helps a little bit. Rewatch the video if you want to, have a chat with me if you want to, have a chat with your friends or family about things that I've said, and hopefully some of these coping mechanisms will help you start to ease it away. But don't give up. I know a lot of things I looked into, I was like, oh, it didn't work, well, I'm not going to bother with this. Well, that's the problem. They take time. You have to, it's like when you're teaching a child, I don't mean to patronise anyone, but when you're teaching a child, you have to use a lot of repetition to help them learn. Well, it's the same in this situation. It's the same with adults. If you don't know something, repetition will help you learn. Okay? So, how to ease panic attacks? First off, let's think, we're controlling your breathing. So, hyperventilating is going to make things worse. You know when people say to you, oh, here's a bag, hyperventilate into the bag, I completely disagree with that method. It's actually going to increase your heart rate, increase you know, how quickly you're breathing, the oxygen is going everywhere. You want your heart rate to go down, you know, not dangerously low, anything like that, alright, don't get the wrong idea. You need it to return to its normal beat, and it will certainly help, I can promise you that. So let's talk about how to control your breathing. You've probably heard before, the breathe through your nose and out through your mouth. That's basically what it is. I quite often use my hands as well in doing so because it just helps me guide. So what you want to do, I've got a very blocked nose at the moment, so I can't do it properly, but close your mouth, and as you're breathing through your nose, raise your hands with your lungs. Okay, so we'll just do it now for a moment. So go. Then I turn my hands this way. This is my point where I'm going to stop and hold my breath for a bit. And then out through your mouth and push your hands down. Okay, because you want to do it slowly. Not so much that you're going to pass out. You don't want to hold it there until you can't breathe at all. But it will steady your breathing. It will steady your heart rate. Okay, it's quite important to do so. There are lots of videos online about breathing. It's worth looking at. If you want me to do one specifically in a bit more detail about the breathing techniques, send me a private message. I will make a video. Okay, but that's basically what it is. But keep it going in through your nose, hold it for a moment, and out through your mouth. And do this. You may feel it's not working straight away. You're probably still going to be trembling and all sorts, but just keep it going. It may not completely stop that panic attack, but it will certainly ease it. Okay. Another good way is learning to relax. Now this is something that a lot of people, believe it or not, avoid. It's because they think it's not for them. And I don't mean, you know, general relaxation. If you find it easy to relax, that's great. But a lot of people that are suffering from anxiety, depression, they don't find it easy to relax. So when you've learned some methods, you can adapt it to when you're having the feeling of panic. It's not so easy as you do it once, you've learned a relaxation technique and it's going to work first time. Again, repetition, teach yourself how to relax. All right. So ways of doing this. Now, this is the point where I said a lot of people will suddenly go, no, I'm not doing that, that's not me. But meditation is a really, really useful tool. It is something that I did myself. I don't do it very often now, but if I am feeling too stressed, I will. I'm not sitting at saying, there's a lot of people think if you sat there with your hands in that position going, all right, that's not what I mean at all. All right, there are plenty of ways that you can do meditation. And I mean, if you're from Plymouth, I know that there are a few centres and a few places that will teach you meditation classes. I'm not going to name them because I haven't had permission to do so. Um, if you would like to know where to do them, I can message you privately. And there are classes and they are cheap, all right, to go to. And it's not to say you have to keep paying for the rest of your life. Just do a few sessions, all right, a few sessions, learn how to do it. If you're enjoying it, keep going for a bit longer. There's also lots of videos on YouTube that can help you with that, and it's certainly worth doing. There's also a lot of relaxation music. If you just lay there, listen to the music, close your eyes, you know, set a romantic scene if you want to, candles, you know, anything that will relax you will be good. Another method I've heard that really helps with panic is yoga. This is something that I didn't go to do. I thought about it, but I was trying out so many things at the time, I never really went forward with that. So I can't give you much personal experience on it, but I can tell you that through reading a lot of stories and speaking to a lot of people, it really can help. So it's worth giving that a try as well, because I mean, if you're suffering that bad, you will honestly want to try everything, you know. So do that, do it, give everything a go, see what works for you. You don't have to do it all at once. Take your time. So now this is something that I've added a little twist to. Now I'm sure other people do this, but this was something that wasn't provided to me by therapy or doctors or anything like that. This is something that I created in my mind. I'm not to say that I was the one who invented it. I'm sure a lot of people do it, but I'm going to teach you it my way. And I call it setting a scenario. So it is often, as I said, overlooked if it's even a thing to most people, but it's something that certainly helped me. And it's find something you love in life. I don't mean a person, something, some activity, something that makes you feel good. Okay, and it's something as well that will cause similar symptoms to a panic attack, but in a good way, if you see what I mean. So your heart pounding, you might be shaking. You know, certain sports will certainly do that for certain people. But ones that are definitely things you enjoy is really important. So, for example, if you haven't guessed already, I am a bit of a nerd. I'm going to admit it. And I quite like old school warfare. I'm not a history buff. I don't know an awful lot about it, but I like it. So it being in those old school wars, it's not something that ever frightens me. It's something that actually excites me. Sometimes I wish I was born in the wrong time, because I'd love to witness it, as gory as it sounds. So when I was getting certain panicky feelings, I could feel it coming on. I try and imagine myself in that scenario. So, like, I would imagine that I'm in that situation, I'm fighting that war. That is why my heart is pounding. That is why I'm shaking. That is why I'm getting all these fight and flight responses, because I'm in a fight. Okay, but in a fight that I'm enjoying, because you can't actually die in your own mind, you know, just from a thought. Now, one that a lot of women, not just women, but that I've heard, you know, women that say horse riding, all right, and men too, horse riding. That's something that's good, because I've never rode a horse, but I could imagine that you get the adrenaline, you get your heart pumping, all right, you've got the movement of the horse. A lot of them symptoms, you know, it's galloping along so fast. You've got the wind brushing past your hair, and now imagine it in a more relaxing setting. So I don't know, you're riding along a beach in the sunset, or you're riding along in a forest pathway. You can hear the birds and everything else. So you've got these symptoms, but you've also got the relaxing environment. Just close your eyes Imagine you're there. Make your complete own scenario, something you enjoy. Imagine you're there. That is why you are having these symptoms. And it's a bit of trickery then. So you've given your mind a reason to be having a lot of these physical symptoms, and it used to calm me down. It didn't at the start, but the more I kind of looked into it, the more detail, should I say, that I put into that, the more creative I was, the easier it was to do, and it would calm me down because I'm believing I'm in this situation. That's why I feel that way. And then because I've got this relaxing atmosphere, my heartbeat begins to slow. You know, I had the excitement built up first, and then it slowed. And the reason I say excitement is because there's many similar symptoms in excitement as there are in panic. So there is this little story, I'll keep it short and brief, I heard about. There was a lady, she loved going into garden centres. She loved gardening, she loved buying new plants. She had a panic attack in one day, and then every time she tried to go, she would have another panic attack. She got depressed by it, she couldn't go there anymore, she missed out on the things she loved. And it only took one person to say to her, "Are you excited about buying plants?" She responds, "Well, yes, before this." And he went, "Ignore this. Is it exciting for you to go to the garden centre on a normal day before this has happened?" She said, "Well, of course." I said, what symptoms do you get from excitement? She says, "What do you mean?" He says, "Go into detail, think strongly about the situation, and tell me, list your symptoms." And the more she got, the more she realised that she was mistaking excitement for panic. And that is what actually caused the panic attack to happen. So she started getting these symptoms of excitement. Her heart was racing a bit more and so on. She mistook it, and therefore it turned into a panic attack. So that's how I know a bit of trickery of the mind can do things like that. So we'll do it in reverse. Rather than her mistaking excitement for panic, we're going to try and trick ourselves to mistaking panic for excitement. And it really did work for me. Like I said, not straight off. Everything I'm going to be saying is not going to be a quick fix. And I only repeat that because I know I used to get so angry looking up things and be like, why doesn't it work? Why doesn't it work? Because you are impatient when you're feeling that way. So I'm sorry, I will be repeating myself quite a lot, but I'm doing it for a reason. Okay, so I'll go through some more techniques in a later video. Like I said, I just didn't want to leave you hanging for too long. And also there's a lot of other situations that can cause panic attacks, and as said before, it could be to do with a number of medical factors and so on and so forth. So we're going to need to go into more detail if certain people want them on that subject. Ones that involve medication I may have to do a bit of research on, because I couldn't really help you straight off from that. I don't have enough knowledge on that subject in particular. Excuse me. So yeah, try out some of these things and don't give up on them. I mean, the first time meditating, yoga, things like that, they didn't help me, like I said before, because it was a one-off at the start. Your body hasn't learnt the techniques properly. The scenario you think of may be a little too vague at the start, or it might be too overwhelming at the start. So think about something slightly lesser and then add the details as you go along. These are things that you really do have to take your time with. But wouldn't it be better for something to take a little while and for you to get better than for you to give up, not try these things, and lose that chance of getting better quickly? And that is something that is important to me, that you do not give up. Okay. I mean, that's going to be all for now. Again, I apologise for the state that I'm in, and that it's been so long. I've just not been well, and it's finding it hard to find the time. So anyway, if you could please still, as terrible as it was, share the video, like the video, tell people about the Facebook Wiser Minds page that I have there, as well as the YouTube channel. More importantly, the Facebook one, because that will have links to the YouTube anyway. because as I've said previously, the more people that watch it, the more they can pass it on, and perhaps we can be helping more people on a much larger scale to get over some of their problems. Okay, I've not decided exactly which order I'm going to put for my next video. I am going to try and pump it out by next week if possible. If I don't, it just means that I got caught up in work, or I had something else that I needed to do. Doesn't mean it's not going to come up. Alright, you will have to be patient with me, as I've said in my first video. I don't get a lot of time to do these, but I promise you, okay, I promise you that I will try and be there for you the best that I can, and I will do my best to pass these techniques on. So thanks for your patience, and take care, and I'll see you soon. Thank you.